What's up, everybody? This is Whiskey in the Six. I'm Rob. Today I'm doing the top 6 25-year-old Scotch that I've reviewed on this channel. I'm going to start with whiskeys that did not make the list. One of the whiskeys that did not make the list is the Lefroy 25-year-old. I only tasted a 50ml sample of this whiskey, so I don't feel like it was enough to give it a fair shake. Really nice stuff, but it didn't make the list because I just didn't have enough of it. The Glenmorangie 25-year-old, I had enough of this to know that I don't even want to review it. It's really expensive. It's good, just not great. The ABV is low. The whiskey's smooth, but it's just not good enough for me, so it didn't make the list. Glenlivet 25-year-old also did not make the list. If you are new to my channel, there's videos that talk about the Glenlivet 25-year-old. I've never officially reviewed it on my channel, but I owned a bottle, went through the entire bottle. One of my most disappointing purchases that I've made up until this date, and I just didn't love it. Balvenie 25-year-old also does not make the list. Really nice stuff, just way too expensive to actually justify putting it on the top 6 list next to some of these gems. Although they're not 25 years old, I'm going to put the Glenfiddich 26-year-old and the Bruichladdich Blackguard 6.1 on this as well. That's also 26 years old. So they're almost 25 years old. They actually get the slight advantage being a year older. They're just not good enough to be on the list. I wanted to include them because they're from pretty big Scotch companies, and that's pretty much what's representing their 25-year-old age statement at the moment. The last whiskey that didn't make the list was the Glenfarclas 25-year-old. I almost put it on my honorable mentions. It's well priced. It's really nice stuff. A lot of people love it. It just wasn't enough for me to add it into the list. I reviewed this whiskey really early on in my channel. I think the Glenfarclas 25 is really nice. I do think it's more of a beginner level 25-year-old when compared to some of these others that you're going to hear about right now. So my 2 honorable mentions before I get into my top 6 are the Bowmore 25-year-old and the Old Pulteney 25-year-old. I think those are both excellent whiskeys. The Bowmore is an incredible price for a 25-year-old whiskey. You get a lot of nice peat notes and sherry notes out of it. The Old Pulteney, you get a lot of nice salty notes. Just well-rounded in general. I recently did a rundown of all the Old Pulteney, so check that out if you haven't already. Excellent stuff, just not good enough to compete with some of the stuff that's going to be on the top 6 list that you're just about to hear. Number 6 on my top 6 25-year-old Scotch whiskeys is the Glengoyne 25-year-old. This is a sherry whiskey. It's bottled at 48%. I just felt it was a little too hot to be lower in the ranking. Still excellent stuff. That's why it's on the top 6. It just does not crack the bottom 5. Next up is the Talisker 25-year-old. Talisker 25-year-old is a great substitute for some of the really expensive 25-year-olds. You can still get this for around 400 Canadian. It's about the same in the US, maybe a touch less in the UK, but overall it's well priced. It's an excellent whiskey. It's bottled at the same ABV that Talisker always bottles at, which is really nice. It's unchill filtered, so you're getting some wicked whiskey here. I highly recommend the Talisker 25-year-old. Number 4 on the list is the Bunnahabhain 25-year-old. Around $400 at the LCBO. I have seen astronomical prices for this whiskey south of the border in the United States. Some places have it listed at $800 American, which I think is ridiculous. But if you can get this for a reasonable price, around 400 Canadian, which is about 320 American, I think you're laughing because it's excellent whiskey. It's got a great Islay coastal saltiness to it. It runs on very low ppm if there is peat in it at all. Very nice stuff. I highly recommend it. So the second year I ran this channel, this whiskey actually won my whiskey of the year. It shows how far I've come, the different types of whiskeys that I've tried, but it also shows that this is still stacking up against some of the best in the world. The Balblair 25-year-old, which is the 1990, which was the 2015 release, is my number 3. It's incredibly well priced. It was about $140 retail at the time. That's Canadian dollars. Unheard of. It's climbed since then. They now actually have an official 25-year-old bottling that they've changed. I haven't tried that one yet, so I'm not recommending that one at all. Don't mistake this one for the new 25-year-old, but it's the 1990, 2015. I can attest that that whiskey is excellent, and pick it up if you have the opportunity. Number 2 is the Highland Park 25-year-old. There are versions that are 48.1% and higher. To be honest, those are old and hard to come by, but the 45.7% is excellent. It just has so much character. I'm obviously a Highland Park fanboy, but Highland Park 25-year-old is phenomenal whiskey. I will say that the 21-year-old is almost as good as the 25-year-old. So if you have the opportunity to pick that up for a much lesser price, in Ontario, for example, the 21 is going for around $320, whereas the 25 is going for $900. Grab the 21-year-old first because you're not going to be disappointed by the 21-year-old, but the 25-year-old is excellent. Number 1, last but not least, is a whiskey that I've recently had an opportunity, the luxury actually, of trying. It's the Springbank 25-year-old from 2019. Now there's less than 2,000 bottles of this whiskey ever produced. In 2019, Springbank decided to do a mix of Oloroso sherry casks and rum casks. Kudos to Springbank for the innovation in this cask. The 21-year-old is excellent as well. It's port and rum. This one, like I said, is sherry and rum. Phenomenal stuff. I really, really love it. It's got everything I love in a Springbank, but it's Springbank dialed up because it's just incredibly complex and it has so many different layers to it. You're definitely going to get that Springbank funk, but you're getting sweetness from the rum casks. You're getting a beautiful nose from the Oloroso casks, and all around just incredible whiskey. Honestly, I was teetering back and forth between the Highland Park 25 and the Springbank 25. So before I filmed this, I decided to have one last dram of the Springbank 25-year-old to make up my decision, and I just wish I had more of that whiskey. I have a bottle and a quarter, and I do plan on burning through that entire collection within this year. It's expensive stuff. I suggest if you're gonna get it with some buddies like we did. So what we did is 4 guys split one bottle. It cost us about $170 Canadian each after shipping and taxes, but we actually got a steal on our bottle. Splitting in 4 ways definitely made it a little bit lighter on the wallet, and we got 4 guys to enjoy it. We actually are gonna share it with other people as well, but it gives us a nice portion of whiskey, gives you a good 175 milliliters of whiskey because the Springbank comes in a 700 milliliter bottle, which allows us a great opportunity to get to know the whiskey without breaking the bank. Alright, so there you have it, guys. That's my top 6 25-year-old Scotch whiskeys. I hope you like this. If you like videos like this, I have a top 6 12-year-old and top 6 18-year-old Scotch whiskeys. So check those videos out as well. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the bell so you get the notifications when I produce a video. You guys can check me out on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You guys can also support this channel on Patreon. Cheers.